the Wyoming plains, and it's an ad for Viagra. In other words, the ad says very little, but the impression is this macho guy comes home, and what makes coming home so good is he's been taking Viagra. I mean, you've seen the ad. I mean, it's very subtle intimation. Well, maybe you don't have to be. That's right. That's good. But and then all of a sudden, and Shirley and I, like I said, we sit there in our little room, and now they have this lady talking about how important she didn't realize how little her sexual energy would be after menopause. Okay, so now she's taking a drug, and by the way, the list of that drug, the bad effects of that drug, would be enough for me, whether I was a woman or not, to not even consider it. But she's going to take this prescription drug now to become more sexually active. Now, I don't understand it. So maybe I need to be educated. You know, the women I know, now what they do in privacy is their own business, but I don't get chased sexually. You know what I'm talking about. But I do have women that want to talk to me, that want to be around us when we have our dinners. You know, everybody's engaged and talking and sharing thought processes and things of that nature. You know, we're really concerned about our neighbors who are not well, and we spend our lives making sure their lives are better. So anyway, that's my riff on Viagra, and I don't even know how we got there, but it's
not boring. It's not boring in any case. So I mean, I'm right now, I'm as they say, pushing 50, as Carlin would refer to it. You like George Carlin, by the way? You know who that is? Very
much. Oh, yeah, I know who he is. He was the hot button in a long time in our lives. You know, George Carlin was a genius. Yeah. And actually, personally, a really good guy. I mean, a good person to know. Forget his stage presence. He was a good person.
I didn't know him. Did you?
Yeah, we bumped into each other occasionally.
Cool. Anyway, so sexuality as you age, I mean, I like your point that it doesn't have to be consuming as you get older, and in a way you release from it, because hormones do drive us. I mean, we are
absolutely
beings, and you know, you're young, you want to fuck, you want to make babies. I have a vasectomy that I got pretty early on, 27 years old.
Okay.
And so I chose not to do that physically, but of course the hormones, you know, still occurred.
Sure.
And it is true that there's a certain focus that you have when you're younger that is distracting. And that's why a lot of organizations and things say, okay, well, let's be celibate to focus. Like a lot of monks, you know.
Well, that's true.
Let's remove ourselves from that so we can focus. Age does that for you naturally to some degree.
Yeah. That's why I always argued about the orders.
Yeah. Well, the orders are messed up too, because some of the people are in them, they're still very sexual, but then they're repressed, and then they're fucked up, and they're fucking children and shit. That's just bad. But anyway, so I am happy in that sense to be older, but to be honest, I'm not that much less sexual. Well, the same drive isn't there. It's true. It's not like the addiction, the monkey on your back thing, you know. Right. And also, you have more experience, so you already, you know, did it. I guess I've done.
You do it better when you're older too. You do it better because as you get older, you start to spend more time thinking of the partner instead of thinking about it.
I thought of the partner to begin with, and so
but let's face it, Brian, you're not normal. You're not average. Neither am I. You know. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully we're not normal. Yeah, I'm not normal. You're right, and in a good way in that case.
Sure.
I always cared about my partners, and now, I mean, I wonder, and I guess there's things I'm not going to say because it's private, you know.
Sure.
But I'm still sexual. I'm still a very sexual person, and especially living here, because I mean, when a beautiful woman comes here and pays some attention to me, it means a lot to me.
And I've seen that you've had some lovely guests. I mean, I've
have lovely
guests. But here's an interesting word you said. You see, I didn't say that I was asexual. I said that what myself and many of my peers have done is redirect a majority of that energy elsewhere. It no longer becomes the predominant driving force.
Right. Which I certainly understand.
But it, again, when I use the new advertising programs for these products, if you watch them long enough, a man could sit there who does not understand himself to begin with, because we have a lot of weaknesses in, today, especially. He could start saying, well, I have to be because this is what I'm supposed to be. So we've distorted. Now, here's my premise. If we redirect that energy back to the sexual side, we've lost the potential of that energy doing much better for humanity, much better for economy. You see what I mean? I know I'm drawing this out, but it's actually, I enjoy being more beneficial to a large group of people than to be beneficial to me and one. You know where I'm coming with that. So,
I do actually, and I think there's a word here that might be useful. And as you get older, I mean, I've always thought about it because it was very important to my dad as he aged, and that's the word legacy.
Okay, there you go. That's a good one too. That's a good one.
What the fuck did your life fucking mean? Right. What purpose did you really have for anyone? And I'm all for fucking. That's great. Have a fucking great time, whether you're young or old. But I think as you get past your 20s and into your 30s, and each year that goes by, you start to think, well, what am I doing? What am I creating? What effect do I have on others around me? Which is one stage of it. But then also for me, what am I in terms of generations? What do I mean in 100 years?
Right.
Which is, most people aren't going to think about, I suppose. But
today we're going to have blabs 100 years. I mean, your blab, this blab is, somebody's going to dig it up 100 years from now and say, wow, those are a pretty couple of genius guys. But,
that's optimistic, but
well, at least we don't have to worry about the celluloid. That's the one problem that we had in the cinema business, is that celluloid deteriorates, and this that's digital stuff doesn't. So in a way, I'm not a fan. I love to hold a book and read it, and I love the smell of print. I mean, that's what I like. But I will be honest with you that we have now afforded a way that many people can have access to good stuff because of digitization.
Yeah.
And nobody reads it. I'm saying it is accessible. They'd rather read crap than they would read quality, but that's, that's again.
My hope is, and we probably share the same hope, is that even though there's a lot of crap, there are people out there who are actually entertaining new shit and really benefiting, really smart people who are thinking a lot. And I think where I am, I live in a place that's very rural, and there's no books here.
Yeah, right. And there's no TV.
There's TV. There's 3 channels.
Yeah,
they're crap, and there's no internet for most people.
Right.
So I live near a town of 400 people. That's the biggest town near me.
You're up with me up in the North State, aren't you? Or are you the one that's in Central America?
I'm in Mexico.
You're in Mexico. Oh, that's right. You're in the Basque. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. Because there's a couple of people who I'm beginning to know on Blab that have similar philosophies and similar, stations in life. Wow. And one is in Guatemala, and somebody else they built a resort up on the Northern California coast near the north, and I want to get over to see him, but there's a similarity to all 3 of you that is interesting. We had some other people stop in. Let's see, you got Brian. Oh, that's you, Brian. And then David Werba, podcast producer, web developer, and strangehuman.com. I like the name of that website right off the bat. And then we have Zachary Marines, which is dear to my heart also. So
Zachary I've talked with quite a bit.
Good.
Zachary I've enjoyed talking with, but I gotta focus on people who are going to talk online. Hi. Right. Guess who this is?
Well, who is that?
This is Sonrisa.
Sonrisa. Okay, beautiful name.
Yep. Sonrisa means smile.
Yes, it does.
He's a little goofy boy.
Yeah.
He was dropped off in a town, the nearest town to me, with 7 other puppies,
Yeah.
abandoned.
Yeah.
And so some kid came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to adopt this little puppy?"
Mm-hmm.
He feels trapped right now. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
And
It's really funny. This morning, Lacey was up here on my desk, and people could see Lacey. We rescued her, and I don't want to get into. I mean, if you get me going on animals, we'll be here for hours. And I do have to, unfortunately. Here's the thing about animals, and I just saw something. And if the 3 other people on this thing, there was a connection between you and Sonrisa that was more powerful than most people ever experience in their lives with humans.
I don't know that.
Well, I'm not talking about you. I'm saying a lot of people. And one of the things is that I could see you understand the communicative properties of Sonrisa, and you knew how to respond. And obviously there was communication back and forth. And people today are having a hard time doing that. And I have one person who I've been working with who, and other people are doing this, but they're using animals to teach people how to communicate with people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And giving now, years ago, we had a school in Central California. I worked with the instigator of that. And he took what we call, borderline juveniles who were just about ready to go down the tubes. And they were each given a young, wild horse. And I like that. They spent 4 hours a day in the classroom and 4 hours a day with that horse, 7 days a week. There's a handful of people. The program worked so well that he wrote the book and traveled around the United States sharing this information with other people of interest. The bottom line is, by putting that 14, 15-year-old in that position and guiding them, obviously you have to guide them through the process, but they pick it up very quickly. They had to learn respect, and they had to learn give and take, because you can't argue with the pea-brain horse who has the brain development of a 3-year-old. You can't argue. It's like arguing with a 3-year-old kid. You can't do it. You can't win. So it was amazing, the outcome, and the success rate was phenomenal, like 95% at that location. Now, I didn't follow. I built a facility to house the horses, okay? And that was our contribution to the program. So and I watched, it's the way our kids grew up, and my son is still doing that for a living. That's what he gets paid for, is to work with animals and make them more productive. But he has to be very humble. See, you have to be humble. You have to throw ego out the door. That relationship showed that you're not an egoist, you say. Just watching. Now, that's my observation from you and your dog, Sonrisa. And I applaud you for that, because it shows your humanity, okay? And humanity is something that we don't see often today. There's spurts of it. There's, everybody's outpouring their pain and for the people of France and so on. But how long is it going to go on? It's a good 20. On the news, it's going to be dead news in 24 hours, and then it's going to be out of mind of a lot of people. The atrocity, and I call it an atrocity. Okay, I'm sorry. I just don't think it's a cool thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to happen in my town. I wouldn't want it to happen in my neighborhood, and it very well could. It probably wouldn't happen in your town, because you live in a pretty humanitarian town.
Well, nobody cares about where I live. I actually do
That's what I'm saying.
Tough area in some sense. Where I live is Michoacan, in the middle of Mexico.
I know Michoacan.
There's a lot of drug issues and narco trafficking issues. People are afraid to come here.
Right.
And I'm not afraid to be here. But there's real fucking conflict here. It's not far away here.
We have a large, every year we have a large contingency of Michoacans or people,
Michoacanos.
Yeah, Michigan. They favor harvesting olives.
Yeah.
They're very good at it.
I just want to welcome David here. David, whereabouts?
David. Hi, David.
What's going on, man? It looks great outside there with that fire. I would love to be
loving it,
man.
I'm going to stoke it up a little bit. Why don't you introduce yourself and say hi to anybody watching?
Hi, I'm David. Yeah, Brian, I chatted with you, I think a few weeks ago. Yeah, it's been a few weeks now. Chuck, how's it going?
Good.
Kind of listening in the background, just doing some work here. I'm a web developer, so I'd like to just code in the background, just kind of listen to some of these rooms and sometimes do my own. But
so you're the man who creates this wonderful thing that we see, because I have learned that it's all just a matter of numbers or little dots and codes and so on, and that's what basically we're seeing and reading and all the blogosphere and all this stuff, and somebody actually has to create that, and that's people like you, right?
Yeah, here, I'll just type in, you see that? That's like the code behind websites. It's just, that's
not the code to a website, you motherfucker. What David, what kind of languages do you program in, or what?
Oh, I try and keep it as simple as possible. If I don't have to like custom code something, then I don't. I only do custom coding unless it's absolutely necessary. That's something that shifted the past 5 or 6 years. Just with web, or actually, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, it started to become a competition of who could have the most bells and whistles on their website and most flash dancing girls and all that stuff. But
I hated that.
Yeah, it was crazy. And the people who still have sites that were building in that era they're screwed right now. They're in rough shape because they're trying to create mobile versions of all this, all the dancing girls and all the flash, garbage with their old site.
And where are all these dancing girls at?
Well, he's going to show them to us. That's what that is. That code, Brian, is
the code now. So just
type that in, and you see the
want to share them with
metaphorical dancing girls. Are we talking I don't know, PHP stuff? I mean, are you doing HTML, PHP? What are you doing?
Yeah,
both.
That's the main stuff I do right there.
Okay. Yeah, and that's not.
I have a question for Dave.
I like dancing girls.
Visually it's nice, but it.
I mean, literal ones, not metaphorical.
No, I know. Yeah.
Much better to see them down the road at the little establishment where they like to dance, but
anyway. Actually, in your room for some reason.
Yes, that
would be much better. I'm on David's side on that one.
Yeah,
right.
The establishment, sometimes those seem a little lonely.
Yeah. Chuck, you had a question. What is it?
Yeah, recently I have been reading everybody wants the new website with all these different themes is this, what do they call it, parallax, and there's a picture there, and there's this stuff moving in the background, and maybe it's my age, but I find that whole system, I have not seen one that was attractive to me, because I go to a website to read something, to inform, or being spoken to through an MP3, okay?
Yeah.
But I was told by somebody in your business that this is what the search engines love, is all this crap. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know, and I don't really want to, I'm not going to change my life. I like to go to a website, if you want to say, that tells me what I want to know about as easily as possible. I don't want to scroll to heaven to find it out. And I don't want
to told you that stuff, Chuck, because I've actually done a few blab rooms about this. It's just the future of the web. And the main point that I am trying to make to people is that the future of websites are actually going to start mirroring the usability and design of applications on smartphones.
Okay.
And I assume you guys have smart.
Well, I
I'm
don't.
sure if you have one, Brian, out there in the bush, but
I just got my first smartphone a month ago.
Okay.
Somebody gave it to me, an iPhone 4.
oh, okay,
And I sliced fruit on it, and I'm learning how to use it.
yeah,
But to be honest, I don't know what the fuck it's for.
I have one that my son. I had the old flip phone for years,
yeah,
and my son said I should have a smartphone so he could text me.
mm-hmm.
But our phone is used to talk to people.
Yeah.
I don't have any. I don't have any apps. I mean, yes, I do. Excuse me. I have an app. Well, I can read. Like we just left a road trip, and on the road trip, it was when we stopped at a rest stop. I would check my email. Okay. I mean, I guess
David is talking to like cavemen here.
Yeah. but the and I put that texting away from my mind. Yeah.
Oh, what phone do for me? Oh, poke, poke, poke. On what?
Fire, background, talk.
Yes, you caveman. Fantastic. But anyway, the an app now is a miniature coding, or I mean, what's the big thing? What's the difference between an app and a piece of software on the PC?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, the app is it's like it's an application that is basically built for a smartphone. That's the only place that you use it, because it's just adapting to the mobile lifestyle. And like the progression of traffic, meaning like web traffic, which is just visitors to website. That's like going down every year, and then mobile devices are rising every year in terms of where people spend their time. So that's kind of the rationale behind websites starting to mirror applications in usability, because it can't be something that takes a long time to load and using and just you get lost in it. It's got to be really simple. That's what people want, and that actually aligns with old school mentality that you were saying. It's like, you know what? I want to read the article. It's like, I'm coming here. I just want to get the gist of the article. Let me read it easily, and don't, put all these pop-ups and sales ads in my face. I'm here to get information. So.
Yeah, I looked at a few of the websites that I work with. I mean, that we put our stuff out there. We're reaching 30% mobile and 60%. We're still 65, 35, 65 is our current mobile to PC or Mac or whatever,
Yeah, worldwide statistics is basically the opposite of that. It's like about 65%. Yeah, that's just world traffic right now.
Wow.
But yeah,
world traffic.
Yeah, world traffic overall, like overall websites. And
isn't that because that around the world the access and the usability of a smartphone is a lot easier than a PC or a computer. In other words, we now have millions of people that have smartphones that never would have had computers. Is that true?
Right. And where I live, this town of 400 people I mentioned,
right.
There are probably, I'll make something up, 12, 15 computers.
Right.
And there's probably 60 to 80 mobile phones.
Right.
And the mobile phones will be increasing in number,
yes.
And the computers will be increasing much slower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's I think it was Ray Kurzweil. I don't know if you guys heard of him.
Of course.
Yeah. So transcendent man, and he also works for Google now in terms of artificial intelligence. And the smartphones we have today, I think he likes to always repeat when he does like documentaries or anything on the subject that it's like 1 million times more powerful than the most powerful IBM computer from the 70s. Yeah. Just the smartphone we have today.
There's Sunrise.
Yeah. Oh, that's a nice dog.
Yeah.
Hey, boy.
Sunrise.
Sunrise.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
Yeah. See there, right there. Oh, and it's amazing how he responded, and he put himself in the position, Brian. He actually made you do that. Do you know that?
Yeah, he forced me.
Yeah, no, he did. He forced you to treat him a certain way, and he gave you the the gratification afterwards. So hey, Shirley's telling me
I'm manipulated. I have no free will.
I don't either with our animals. Shirley
As I said the other day on Facebook, I have no choice but to believe I have no free will.
there you go.
Wait,
That's
or was it? I have no choice but to believe I have free
to
will.
believe, yeah.
One of those.
I remember the one conversation you got into. It was way beyond me, but you guys had some really good stuff going. I can't remember which blab it was, but I'm finding I've learned so much here in the short time on.
Hey
blab.
Brian, before I forget, like your phone, that phone you got, I think it would be most useful for you for like a compass or like alarm clock type of stuff, like reminders or, like calculate something that, will help you make your day easier in some way, because if you just like start flipping through all the applications that are available, anything that you could like imagine, pretty much someone is like building it or it's built in terms of like a tool that you can hold in your hand where you need to calculate something. But there's like accelerometers in there. There's it's just even a compass alone, just a compass app you turn on, the exact direction that you're facing. I don't know
Why
if
do I
that
need
helps
a
you.
compass? I always know where I am.
He knows where he's going. He can't get lost.
Yeah.
I got
All right, yeah, Chuck, take care, man.
Thank you, Chuck. That's awesome. Thanks for joining in. So that's an interesting question, David. And so let's state that as a question.
All right.
What use is a smartphone to me?
To you, yeah. That's
And let's come up with it. First of all, it's a phone, which I do actually use occasionally, although very rarely. I often go a month or two without calling anyone.
okay.
And so right there, the phone is a use, but not very big. Compass, no.
No.
I know where I am.
All right.
An excellent compass already, all the time. I can slice fruit on it. I can slice fruit. I like that game. That's fun. But I don't need to do it. And so what apps do I need?
I'm looking right now at my apps, like the common apps. I have an alarm clock.
I did use an alarm clock. You're right. So you have one point there. I have used the alarm clock because occasionally I have to actually do something, which
Okay,
is really rare.
calendar. Do you care what day it is every week, or?
Well, do you know who I am at all?
Yeah, I've been in your room like a month ago. I understand what you're doing, and
Okay.
like
If I'm living the hermit lifestyle, then I don't care. But it is true that as soon as I have people here, I have to care about.
yeah, you have to kind of
Hey.
schedule stuff so that like the calendar app kind of keeps like things scheduled, and it gives you notices when you have appointment or a meeting with somebody.
And I just did install I installed the Google Calendar app,
Yeah,
which
perfect.
apparently I have to put my password into again, which I have to go look up because I forgot it. But so that's useful. So okay, email, calendar, phone, alarm. We got those. We got four.
So Twitter is how you kind of keep in touch with people that follow you through Blab. If you're trying to raise awareness,
Which I just started doing.
okay.
And I did it with Blab. I'll do it again.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell a little bird.
So whoever follows you on Twitter now knows that you're doing this room, and they can jump in and be part of the conversation. Very simple.
I got one hand. That's 5 things I'm doing on my phone.
Okay, I got more stuff for you, man. I have a.
I'm more interested in the weird stuff. I want to know about the weird stuff.
Well, let's get progressively weird. This is the most
Okay. I'll go with you. Feed it
high
to me.
quality. I got MP3 recorder. If I want to ever do voice notes, to at any point in the day, it's like, I want to just remember this. I don't have time to type something in. I'm just going to go, hey, Dave, check out blah, blah, blah. There's a tree falling down in the corner of my land. Check it out tomorrow, blah, blah, blah.
I do have that.
Yeah.
And mainly I record things and I never listen to them, but okay.
Okay. So camera.
I did a camera thing and I installed Instagram and I posted myself as a zombie.
Yeah. So you don't need a camera to lug around anymore, because the quality of the camera in these things are awesome.
Well, I'm a very camera focused guy, so it
Okay.
is true. It was very good, but I just got a Casio Vixia Mini X, and I love it for things. And so I'm going to write about all my cameras because this does not replace my regular camera, although it is really great.
It's good for quick stuff if you're like on the fly and you just want to capture something.
Yeah, but it also doesn't. Does it geotag the picture?
If you set it to, yeah.
I need to figure that out. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
it's just a setting in the a checkbox in the settings.
All right, cool.
Email browser, we got Skype. And then there's just the endless list of like news feeds of like how you want to take in information, different news sources.
I mainly use my computer. I mean, right
Okay.
now I'm at my computer.
You like
And
the
so
big view when you're reading.
I'm very comfortable with it. I'm there
Yeah.
at 3 a.m. I'm writing, so my phone, I think, and I don't leave the house much, I mean, I almost never leave the house.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm interested in what my phone can do. For example, Periscope is a thing apparently,
Oh yeah.
and that's related to Blab. Is Blab available on my phone?
On the iPhone, yeah, Apple has an app for it, but it's apparently not that great. But some people use it.
Fucker phone. I swear to God. I mean, I've been using computers. How old are you?
43.
Ah, you're old.
Yeah, I am old.
You look great.
My beard would look about the same as yours if I grew it out. Same grayness.
Yeah. Well, you're doing great. Yeah. So what else is there? What other apps am I missing out on here?
Yeah, the only other like must have for me would be my Podkicker app, which is just it's a feed. It's where I store all the podcasts that I listen to, and it pulls from any source. And that just allows me, so if whatever podcast you like to listen to, it's all in one place, and then it updates automatically. That's what I use. I mean, iTunes has its own like podcast subscription thing, but I like Podkicker, just how it sounds.
Well, I like Podkicker because it's not Apple. Also, I don't like Apple very much. Apple's a fascist fucking company, and they get all the. For the whole time I've been in the computer industry, they've always been like the solution for theoretically independent thinkers. That's bullshit. It's for slave thinkers. I mean, the actual history on it. Let me fix my focus there. Is that IBM lost control of the operating system, and so Windows went anarchic, and Apple's always been the controlled operating system.
Yeah.
And this thing is totally controlled. Like, I can't just install somebody's fucking shit. I have to go through them.
Oh yeah, dude. I have an Android phone. I would never get an iPhone. Android is just more open ecosystem. I have an iMac for my work because it's when you get into like design and graphics, Photoshop, stuff like that, it's Apple kind of starts to win there. But for mobile devices, yeah, I'm all about Google and Android because it's just more open in my opinion.
Does Google own Android?
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's also Windows Phone.
Windows Phone, yeah, it's like, I mean, there's like Apple and Android, they're like way up here, and then Windows is kind of hovering near the bottom. They're not really competing with the big guys.
Yeah. What was the last one you mentioned?
The Podkicker.
Okay, yeah, I wrote it down. See, I wrote it down on the thing I trust. I wrote it down here.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the other thing. It's a note taker. If you like using your fingers on your phone, you take quick notes. And the last thing would just be a video camera. It's a quick video shot. If you don't have that pro one that you use. Right.
Camera. I mean, it took me a while to figure out how to use this fucker. There we go. I mean, I feel so ignorant. It's amazing. There we go. It's recursive as hell. Pretty soon I'm going to spontaneously combust.
That's all right though, Brian. I like, in terms from what I understand of like what you want to do with the future of the Bossk Village, I think some of these tools could help like organize and outreach to more people, which
I think so too.
That could, it could make a big impact. I mean, just like Blabs alone could end up, you can get like maybe 10 people visit you this year just from doing that. That's it.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a great point. And a lot of the goal here is to go to the oldest technology and explore that, the oldest ways of doing things. But I also want to combine that with the very newest ways of doing things. And so I love the idea that we're going to have more cameras here, more screens, more geotagging, maybe making this into a virtual environment that people can watch and be involved in from far away. Mm-hmm. I think that's really fun. So I'm not anti. It's just in the case of this phone, I'm learning how to use it, and it makes me feel a little dumb. So, but hey, that's how things go.
Oh, so you got me. Okay. That's interesting. So do you want to have like a live feed where there?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you know how you want to do that?
Well, there's a variety of technologies, and I'm open to others. And I'll mention that briefly, but actually, I would rather jump you, since you seem smart, to something beyond that. But let's talk about live feed for the moment, and then I'll try and remember that we're going to jump ahead, okay?
Yeah.
So live feed, pretty much, I have wireless to a satellite connection, and I want to have a webcam available that is motion sensitive, that anyone can walk up to, say something into it, it records the clip, that automatically gets uploaded and posted, right? We use if this then that web page. There's a if this then that web page. Yeah, and it'll automatically spew it out to a variety of media sources, Flickery things and stuffs and things. And so that's essentially a booth that someone can immediately speak out to. What else
about,
as far as
like go ahead. Zero moderation in that process? Like you don't want to kind of control the information in any way?
I'm a total control freak because I'm scared of the world because it wants to kill me and to control me. But in that case, it would be zero moderation. Yeah. Scary. So I don't know. But I looked into the software to do it, and I didn't quite find the exact mix of software I need. Some of it will FTP it up to my I have a DreamHost site.
Yeah.
And then it's not always that easy. So I'm looking for solutions that do what I want.
You know what I'm thinking? Have you looked into home security cameras systems, which are not that expensive? You know, like maybe, I don't know, $150 even. And if you kind of like, you can set them on just some poles that you set up where it kind of creates this like perimeter, like 4-corner perimeter where you got 4 different angles. And then you could actually view all the different angles on your iPhone from anywhere to just kind of check like what's going on. You could be like laying in your tent, you know, sleeping. You have like a full perimeter view of what's going on.
And mostly,
like power. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm mostly interested in me not being involved and it just going out. So definitely though, cameras available. I want them obvious to people so that they know they're talking to the camera.
Yeah.
So it's the same technology as security, but less secret, I guess. There was the show Fox Utopia. Did you see that or hear about it?
Which show is it?
It was on Fox. It was called Utopia.
No, I didn't see that.
They had a bunch of people in a utopian environment, and like 10, 12 people, and there were cameras all over the place. There was like over 50 of them, and they were broadcasting them live. It was kind of a reality television show, you know?
Yeah, like Big Brother or something, yeah.
Something like that.
Okay.
Slightly more interesting. But they failed in some sense, although it was a great experiment. But I think that kind of thing, with interesting people here, much lower cost, would be great. So the short answer is yes, I would love to live broadcast. And any technology that does it would be awesome.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking? Like, I'm just like, where do you get your power?
Well, that's the deal. Is I have very little power. I have 340 watts of solar panels, which is nothing. That's like zero.
So how much light can you produce per day off of that?
Well, during the day, I can produce some light. I mean, recreational vehicles have more than this, you know.
Yeah.
So I have enough to have some LED lights on at night, and then enough for me to have my computer on.
That's going to be your greatest challenge right there.
It is the greatest challenge,
Yeah.
and I like it because I want to teach people how to live with less electricity. On the other hand, I want to broadcast.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but that's easy. If the place is ever successful at all, then there'll be enough money to buy 10 times more solar panels, and I won't buy a lot more batteries, because the flaw in solar panel or solar energy is the batteries. That's the part that pollutes. That's the part that's heavy, that wears out. It's the expensive part. So at nighttime, it's still going to be dark here. And that's cool. I want this place to be still very rustic. I want this place to be a hardcore experiment in using less energy. But I think we can still record a lot and broadcast a lot.
Yeah, like if you did like 4 security cameras, which would be, I don't know, it's not that much. I think it's like $150. You set them up and you just need the power to keep them running. But if they're always recording, you could actually, you could have the moderation of just kind of checking it and then uploading the feed to a website that you have where people can kind of just watch in whenever they want. And then you also have the freedom to, if there's something that weird that happens that you don't want people to see it, you could just take that down. I don't know. It's.
Well, I'm going to change your thought there a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to change your thought there. Hi. Oh, that worked. Good. I'm going to change your thought there a little bit. I'm less interested in security cameras, and I'm more interested in a lot of people having cameras they're holding. In other words, they're going to actively be walking around, recording each other, doing interesting stuff. Now, I'm inviting thinkers, musicians, creative people, aerialists, people who are thinking about the future of the world, environmentalists, permaculture people.
Yeah.
And so I'm more interested in them recording each other. And then we'll go ahead and review those at night, like kind of like the dailies when they make a movie.
Okay, yeah. Like there's a way to do that right now for no cost. And the people are doing it with Periscope right now. So you can.
It won't be live because of bandwidth issues. But the point is that we're all just recording a bunch of stuff and then uploading that. I might even set it up so that I upload the source and I have remote editors.
Yeah.
And that's kind of crowdsourcing, you know?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, people are using like Periscope with Catch. It's kind of like it's just a way to capture your Periscope videos and put them online because Periscope deletes them every 24 hours automatically. Yeah, they do that just to say, I'm sure it's because they're still somewhat of a startup. They, with a few 100,000 users, just the bandwidth is insane, and they're not, they don't have the money of like Google and Apple yet to just, farm out 10,000 servers, for the members or whatever. But yeah, like Periscope, whenever I've seen you in here, it's been Blab, which is on your laptop or desktop, whatever you're using. But Periscope would allow you to walk around your property and just flip your phone around so people can actually see the land that you have in real time. I
got to do our back. I'll be back.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So the other thing I was going to, oh, by the way, all the stuff you mentioned is awesome. Basically, however we can broadcast the place, I'm all in favor of. There's a couple caveats on it I've learned about. You can currently see on YouTube how I'm trying to broadcast, and I'm going to post a link to that right now for anybody who wants to subscribe. I just posted one today on, I went to a blacksmith shop. A guy was making knives.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is to be every week broadcasting cool shit, right?
Right.
Now, beyond that, if you really want to fuck your head over a little bit, which I'm in favor of always doing, is virtual environments in which the stuff that is captured gets placed into the virtual environment, and then you can scroll back and forth through time following a camera or a person through the virtual environment. The technology that allows for that is being worked on by Google and Microsoft and probably others, hopefully. There's Read Write World, which is a Microsoft project that I hope is still active. And there's a Google one that is based on Street something. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the idea is that as you walk through, you know how they have Street Side or something in Google Maps?
Yeah. Street
now,
view. Street view.
Right. So if you were walking down the street, then you should be able to see a video that was actually captured there. Or you could see a photo that was taken there in 1880, overlaid onto the thing.
Yeah.
Now, in a virtual environment like this, then you could have the boss gate stuff. At times when there's a bunch of people here, you could actually follow a person, a camera, and see what people were doing and walk around within the space.
Yeah, like, is that like augmented reality?
Sure, exactly.
Yeah, I haven't really heard it mentioned about like past, using like past footage to kind of see what people were experiencing like 100 years ago or something. I mean, that's crazy.
Look up read /write space world, then you'll see a really interesting video about that. Now, that was from a few years ago, and that's why I mentioned I'm hoping that's still being worked on. Because I'm seeing it as a virtual reality show in a sense, where if you get 60 really cool people in a space doing a bunch of interesting stuff, that's an entirely different communications medium than has ever existed before.
Virtual and augmented reality is going to be a gigantic part of the future of humanity. I've known that for a while, and people are doing blabs about it, and I'm like, I want to like invest in virtual reality advertising today, because it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar industry, like where the characters inside of games and even private like platforms where you can like right now, like you and I, there's going to be an application where for like $5 we put on our headset and it's like we're sitting next to each other on the fire.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And we'll just look over and it's just going to be kind of like almost a cartoonish, holographic image of each other where we can talk just like we are now. The audio will be perfect. And yeah, it's so cool. I'm looking forward to it, but yeah.
And largely what I'm doing here, because I am, this semi-Luddite caveman type guy who wants to, rediscover all the value of the past and reject the civilization that is suicidal and destructive and will self-destruct. At the same time, I want to combine it with all this awesome, cool shit like you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so this is a perfect stage for it. This is a perfect place to invite really interesting minds together, to sit around the real world, literal campfire, inviting in all these thousands of people to the virtual campfire. Yeah. And the most primal experience of communication there is, because that's all the primal thing we're evolved to do, is talk around the damn campfire. I mean, that's where we get to know each other.
Yeah.
You know, and occasionally we stumble off in the dark and fuck, not you and I, but you know, I mean, this is the primal shit, and this is where we cook the food on the fire. This is where we, you know, we hunt during the day, and you know, we gather the roots and the berries, and then we kill the something, and we come back. And so what I want to do is combine this really ancient shit with the most modern shit for an amazing experience for people. And I'm not just doing it to be entertaining. I don't give a fuck about entertainment. I don't like the way that people can't think and they just have no attention span. I want them to, I have real values I want to communicate to them about how we can make a world that can survive in a post-cheap energy world. So it's not just some kind of fucking joke, you know, which most
No. There's other issues there that are kind of interesting too. Like the technology, I know it's already there. Like what would happen is a film crew would come out to your land. Let's just focus on your, 100 square feet of where you are, which is like the campfire discussions with Brian. And they take, the full record of the land through video so that they can reproduce all the different angles in virtual reality application, which would allow people to put on a headset and we just do like we said we would. But once that starts happening, what I see is that when people kind of have the choice between actually going on a vacation or going to the Bosque or going to, Indonesia or Russia or anywhere they can imagine in their head, it's like, well, okay, should I just like pay $5 and just kind of really feel it like for a night, or should I spend like 3,000 to actually go there myself? And I'm curious how that's going to influence people to travel less or more because they get the taste of it through virtual reality. It's really interesting to see like what happens with it.
Yeah. Well, one thing is for sure is that already we travel more virtually than we do physically. I mean,
true, but not even close to the way that we want to. So what's going to happen when we can actually do it the way that we want to, where it actually like it's an amazing experience,
right? Where it's much deeper. You can move around in it. It's everything but the smell. And if you wanted to pay for the smell, you could probably
you can get a fan to blow wind on. You can get smell. You can the heat of a fire. You can sit next to the fire when you're doing it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already thrilled with the fact that people can actually meet each other for the first time in the last 20 years than they could before. Hi, sweetie. This dog is so funny. Are you a funny dog? Yeah, you sweetie, honey. I'm so impressed that this dog is very young, so he doesn't keep still very well. Hi. Okay, get out of here. Good bite. He wants to be up here, but he doesn't want to sit still. So anyway, I'm so impressed anyway that people already are getting to know each other without it just being National Geographic. No offense to National Geographic. It's awesome. But I mean, we actually are talking to each other in the last 20 years. Really, for most people in the last 10, and even still, we've got 3 billion people offline, I think. So we're just meeting each other as a world, and this is like a hippie fantasy. This is global consciousness,
It is. It's cool. It's still it's like super 2-dimensional, which it's okay. We're still able to enjoy like company and speak and get just a tiny snapshot in the background of what's like atmosphere. But I mean that's just
Think about being a hippie in 1967 and be on an acid. I mean, this is what you would see in your fucking fantasy.
Yeah, right.
It's in global consciousness. So already we're there. And so, yeah, we can improve the 3D-ness and we can improve the following the camera around and some things, but it's pretty trippy.
Yeah,
already.
It's like the acid trip. It wouldn't be these perfect square boxes. It would be kind of like floating, like, yeah. But no, I hear what you're saying. It is, yeah.
Actually, that's a feature idea for Blab. I'm big into communications. I mean, I'm very excited by all this technology. I've been following it since the very beginning. I was involved in the computer industry pretty early on. Yeah. And so if you wanted to think about a feature idea for Blab, It would be funny to think about, for example, the louder someone talks, the bigger that their image gets and merges into the others a little bit. And so you're always using the audio to like have these things blend into each other like some kind of a vague vision, which breaks everything out of the box, you know?
It also could help people regulate the audio, because if they see if they're getting too big, they're like, okay, let me just tone down a little, because that happens a lot.
There's the RAM, which I have to self-regulate on as well. I'm writing up a little page on how to be a good blab participant in any blab I'm involved with. Now, you don't have a problem. You're fine. The things I'm mentioning on what I've written up so far are: don't have background noise. You don't have any. All my background noise is awesome. It's a donkey just, I don't know if you heard that.
I did,
dogs.
yeah.
Are you cool? Awesome. See, donkeys acceptable background noise, I think. Dogs barking is sometimes good, sometimes bad. Anyway, so background noise, good lighting. Your head's a little weird because it's in the middle of the thing, and ideally your top of your head would be at the top of the frame, but that's pretty
interesting.
Picky. That's just an aesthetic thing, and I'm an aesthetic guy. You see, that's better for me, but I'm a picky. The other one is rambling, like anybody in a conversation, like maybe me at the moment.
Yeah.
Anybody who's always talking the most is probably the problem person in the conversation.
Yeah, I know. I hear what you're saying.
And then there's other stuff. Like, I got a question for you, because I'm going to host more blabs. And you've been on Blab for how long?
2 months.
Okay, so you've seen some blabs.
Oh, yeah.
What are the annoying things that people shouldn't do? And the second question will be, what are things that people could do to make really cool blabs? But let's stick with the first one to start with.
What they shouldn't do. I think, man, that's, I guess I'll just say what's coming to my head. Like, I see a lot of people, they'll set up a blab where, like, they only want to be a dictator. Like, they just set up their own room, but if they go into another room, it's like they still want to dictate. They still want to, like, be in control of the room. It's like that has nothing to do with blab, though. That's just like communication. People just they have inability to just interact with people without having to try and take control and be belittled. I don't know. I see a lot of problems within the spirituality discussion. That's where it really gets like heated and very like rude. But yeah, man, that's a tough one. So, let me summarize
that so you understand it. So a problem that occurs is that somebody tries to control a blab that isn't one they're hosting, although it could be one they're hosting too.
Right.
Especially the problem occurs in spiritual blabs.
Yeah, like you see the most rude behavior, like in the atheist Christianity type of debates. But I've experienced that for like since I've been working online with like online forums. That was always the most heated discussions people would have, and they would always just go into attack mode when it comes to their like spiritual belief. If someone disagrees with them, it just gets like you don't see it in other. That's what's cool about Blab is a great reference for this point alone, because you don't see that behavior in rooms where we're just talking about marketing or Bosque Village or WordPress or web design. I mean, it's like what you only see that happen in that debate. And it's just an example of, I don't know. But that's a whole different discussion. It's like, I guess what I would add to it is it's not like blab centric. This exists offline. People like to just hear themselves talk. They don't want to listen to you. So if that's who they are, it's hard to like say this is a tip for blab. It's really a tip for communication, and people sometimes
we should
people just
be listening to each other sometimes and actually, be open to other people's messages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is a tough one. So let's move on to your other thoughts on blabs you've experienced and what doesn't work out for making them great.
Oh. Okay, I've seen a lot of rooms where people they'll kind of set up whatever the topic is. So it's usually kind of spirituality when it becomes problematic but I've seen other blabs on other topics where the moderator, if you disagree with what they're saying, they just kick them out. It's like boot them out of the room. It's just, and then they like argue with all the people in the chat. There's nothing productive is happening. It's just this room of like negativity. And I'm just like, what's going on here? What's the purpose of this room? Who's getting anything out of this right now?
Are spiritual people kind of fundamentally closed-minded?
I mean, I don't know. You're opening a can of worms with that, Brian.
I know, that's why I asked it. And I'm not sure I want to open that can of worms. Because, but it is kind of an important issue because personally, I think spiritually minded people are completely closed-minded. And I think spirituality itself.
Those who hold the fundamentalist view, like an evangelical viewpoint or an extremist viewpoint within a religion, that is the problem, in my opinion. That's what I've noticed in my life. And that's what my podcast is about spirituality. But we don't take any stance on any one belief they've had in their life. It's called the fundamental escape. And it's like what's been cool about doing this podcast is that I've been able to articulate my points better about my opinions and what I believe. And one of the cool things I just realized that one of our past guests actually has statistics that show the fastest growing group are people that no longer adhere to a church yet still believe in God. So it's like it's kind of basically people like crawling away from the evangelical fundamentalist viewpoint into a place that is more balanced and real, and so.
Can you repeat for me and anyone listening what your channel or forum is?
Oh yeah, the podcast is called The Fundamental Escape.
The Fundamental Escape.
Yeah, it's just if you just go to strangehuman.com, you'll see the feed.
strangehuman.com.
Yeah, what awesome. I'm building a dictionary there, like a new slang dictionary there too, and just kind of blending them together. And yeah, I was going to do a room tonight when we're done, just to kind of.
Sweet. Well, maybe I'll tune in.
Yeah, great. For sure, man.
We probably are somewhat in tune. I come from a extreme fundamentalist Christian, evangelical Christian background.
Oh wow! So that's how you were raised. That's how you were raised.
Oh yeah. Okay. And imagine extreme and then triple it, and double that, and it was very extreme. But I accidentally noticed that there wasn't a God, and that kind of ruined it.
How old were you when you kind of started?
About 12. And
12.
it was a very painful process. I can't tell
you. Oh,
man,
dude, I remember it like I was yesterday, Brian. I was raised Catholic, and my teachers were nuns in grade school, and they were mean. Like they would, wrap the knuckles with the yardstick. And it's like when you're that age, it's like, wow, this is life. This is normal, I guess. And then, yeah, dude, I would just have these like mind fucks in bed at night. And just like it would feel at my body. I'm like, this is wrong. Like what is wrong with it? This is not, there's something wrong with like what I'm being taught in school. It just doesn't work. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't make sense to me. The same age, dude. I was like 12, 13. And, and that's when I stopped going to church. I couldn't go anymore. Yeah. I kept like,
Well, it was for me at least. It was a process. I mean, it took a while because I tell you this: the most dangerous place there is the library. I went to the library and I just started reading, and those damn books, man, they'll fuck your faith up.
It's dangerous for the fundamentalists, leaders, because it means that people are starting to actually think for themselves and open their mind and learn and grow. And that's just the problem I have with it. It's like, let's just take reading a book. How can reading a book ever be like a sin or the wrong thing to do in a person's life? Like, I mean, there's religious groups, they burn books. It's like to prevent people, and same with, political parties, try and prevent people from opening their mind and learning on their own. They just, anything that has like mind control is wrong. It has to be. And, I mean, there's people that disagree with me and you, and that's fine. That's how it's always going to be in the past and future. But
yeah. So yeah, great stuff. Let's get to the second part of that other question. And that is, what are the coolest things that you've seen in Blabs, and or what could we do with Blabs? Because it's a forum, right? It's a communications medium, and I'm using it. I'm using it now.
Yeah.
I want to use it better. And I'm the only guy with a cool fire, so I'm already doing good.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds we can do with any new thing. What have you already seen, or what do you imagine would be cool?
Something I've imagined that is like ready right now is 4 members of a band that they throw on their headphones. They have their acoustic instrument and they just do like jam sessions.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? Just kind of sit in, and I mean, that's like that band Fish.
Yeah,
that's how they actually practice. They're all in different rooms so that they become tighter and they just kind of like feel each other's, music. They practice where they can't like see or hear each other, but to actually have just a little like video shot to see that your other guy's playing and you could just kind of jam together. I haven't seen that yet, but I would imagine people will start doing that pretty soon.
That is a bright idea. That's a super cool idea.
Yeah, you're in Mexico, I'm in Arizona. We're not even that far apart. But if I play the guitar, and if you have a bass, like, hey, you want to jam? It's like, yeah, let's jam for 20 minutes. And just cool. See you later.
I can play the radio. I'm like musically terrible. I'm not good at that. Right. But you can play with somebody else. But that's a great idea. I mean, you could even make a band. Oh, this is so cool.
You could, yeah.
It would be a great marketing idea. You could have a band that never met each other. They're in 4 places in the world that work together. They play only on Blab. They build an audience, and they're working on their songs, and the audience gets to watch them the entire time. Oh, that's brilliant. And they could release their music as Creative Commons, or at least some of it.
Yep.
So then that Creative Commons music would spread quickly, and other people would copy it and do the same thing. That's a great idea.
Right. Plus, once if you record your practice sessions, then it's almost like a form of copywriting anyway.
Sure.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's if you have a new song, it's kind of like a poor man's copyright. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
You play the guitar, right?
Yeah, I used to be a touring musician. I've produced 23 albums in the past.
Holy motherfucking shit!
Yeah, that was my life for a while.
If you wanted to, I mean, you could do it. I mean, you have the idea. I didn't. You could actually form a band with people from, well, it could be more than 4, but you could, at any one time, you have 4 people playing. You can name the band, and then you could be just jamming and practicing. You could have auditions where 3 of you are in the band and then 1 person.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do the whole development of the band online. You'd be the only person to do it. I've never heard this idea before, and I've heard lots of ideas. And that'd be cool.
It's a cool idea. I mean, it's like I've thought about it like almost right after I first joined. That's just kind of like where my brain went.
Are we hearing a slight tone of wussiness that's not going to do it?
Wussiness, man, dude. I'm like, I barely have time to wipe my ass right now with my work, dude. Honestly, it's totally insane. Web dev, and I'm taking on another podcast project, and I already have one I'm going. And
well, after this lab gets published,
yeah,
and someone else does it, and you can be the guy who thought it up but didn't do it.
Well, yeah, we're recording, so now I have proof.
Yep,
for my idea, but yeah, Brian, the idea, it's not something that like it's available. Anyone can do it like tomorrow. It's not like something I would want to or even want to try to like patent or control. I mean, it's just it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen.
It will happen.
It maybe already has. Just two guys like jamming together.
I need to get a voice coach so I can like, because I have a nice voice, but I'm totally tone deaf. I don't think I can sing. I could write words and say cool stuff. I'm semi-poetic. But yeah, awesome idea. So I whoever steals that idea and does well with it, and I hope that 20 different people do.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
because it will happen. Right?
It will happen.
Sometimes you can see the future. I've been seeing the future since 1985.
Not a day before that, though, huh? It's just
it was pretty much 1985.
All right.
Well, it was when we first got on the internet, which back then it wasn't the internet. It was in college. Usenet existed, I believe. It was mainly military and universities online, and that's when I got involved with computers. And that is what changed my life, and that is what is continuing to change the world. And in my opinion, it's only getting started. Even though a lot of things I predicted before are now happening, like everyone now has their own TV station. That's one of the things I said a long time ago.
Right.
If you want to have your own TV station now, you got your TV station.
Yeah.
Of course, there's 10,000 billion other TV stations now, but so it's an exciting world. I'm not as able to predict the future as well now as I was then, except in some really not good ways, like ways I don't really want to predict. Like mostly now I'm kind of annoyed with the fact that we're using too many resources, that we built up a civilization while we poisoned the earth. Kind of, negative stuff. Basically, civilization is going to collapse. And that's not very popular. It's much more popular to think about how everything's really cool with computers. But, yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
No, I think it's kind of interesting that you basically like totally, I mean, how long have you been there? Is it 12 years? Is that right?
11, yeah.
11 years, okay.
Almost 12.
No technology for how long? Like no cell phone, no computer. Did you have like absolutely nothing for a period?
Well, the first 2 years I was here, I didn't have electricity or internet. So that was my most removed from technology. Also, I didn't have any friends and I didn't speak Spanish. So those were hard couple of years. I got solar panels after 2 years and then got internet. And it improved a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I broke away pretty hard from technology, but I think those two.
It's an interesting story because you kind of stepped away. You basically had nothing as you're building your like land and community, and then you continue to add small pieces of technology back, but only if it's totally useful to you, and it makes. I mean that's kind of interesting, like. To document what you start to add back, yeah.
And it's a little messier than what you described, but basically that is the thing you described is what I want to do, and what I have been doing. It's a little messier because technology comes and goes, and there's this and this decision.
Right.
How do we use containers? What food do we buy? What food do we not buy? What can we build? What do we need to build the things? So. It's an awesome process. because I think most of us in the industrial world are so encapsulated by so much technology that we don't have the ability to think about it. And it's not that we're dumb. It's just you can't think when you're in the middle of a storm. And so it helps to break away completely from it. And so not having electricity for 2 years for me was awesome. Not at the time, totally. Although, to be honest, it wasn't that hard. Or it was. I don't know. I can't tell the difference. It's good for you, though. It's like breaking away from a drug, you know? Because all this energy, like right now, when I look at your camera, I see that you have lights in the background. I would go run over there and turn those
Turn
off.
them off, yeah. Waste of light, yeah.
No, that's because I mean, I have like one light bulb where I am. That's it, and that's not a criticism of you at all. I mean, and I also live in a very wasteful way. I do all kinds of things that are wasteful, but less so than people living in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And if I went back to the city, I also know that I would use more resources then. So I don't ever want to be in a position of being like judgmental towards other people. I think there's something, I'm going to write a page about this or some stuff about this. Like there's like eco assholes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they're always just going around trying to judge somebody else for not being eco enough. And it's like, I hate those fuckers. You know, first of all, I'm way more eco than all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just being kind of dicks. I mean, they come here and they walk around, they're like, oh, why do you have plastic over there? You flew here from another continent. You know, don't criticize me because of a piece of plastic over there. And, you know, don't go back to your parents' house and say, you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. Okay, I know you're young and you're excited by your new ecological enlightenment, but you don't have to be a dick about it. You know, we are all guilty. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of the Mother Gaia or something.
Right.
So let's try and work together, not be dickheads about it, and get ourselves out of this mess because we're in it together.
Yeah, it is. It is a mess, man.
Have you met these eco assholes?
Oh, I know some. I mean, I'm not personally close with them, but I understand everything you're saying right now.
Yeah. Yar.
But yeah, Brian, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do my room about my dictionary.
Cool.
Start building it.
Hey, dude, pleasure to talk with you, David Werbach.
Yeah.
And you already said your stuff. This was on the record, so what I'll do is I might edit it and make it good. I'll cut this out. I'll cut all the boring parts out, and then maybe I'll publish it.
Cool. What are you using to edit this stuff?
Final Cut Pro.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Illegal copy. I'll edit that out too.
Awesome, Brian. I'll catch you later, man.
All right. Adios, señor.
Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Bien, ¿tú?
Bien. ¿Quién está contigo? Ah, yo conozco a ella, yo creo.
Hola.
Hola.
Soy Emi.
Soy Brian.
Soy Emi.
Soy bonita.
Dile, soy Emi. ¿Cómo aprendiste? Ay, voy.
Jenny.
Hola. Hola.
Eso es un vaso de
¿Qué es eso?
juicio. ¿Cuántos niños tienen en tu casa? Well, looks like muy bien. Ya tienes luz mejor. Me gusta.
Dile, hola.
Hola, chica. ¿Cómo está?
No te veo. Voy a entrar otra vez. Sí, pero no más veo nosotros.
¿Ya puedes verme?
No,
¿Por qué no?
no sé.
Yo no sé tampoco.
Pero
Se va y se viene.
ya le desconectaste y le desconectaste.
Le conecté
Ajá,
a los poquitos.
sí. ¿Tú me ves?
Yo puedo verte, sí.
Pero yo no veo nada.
¿Por qué?
No lo sé, mi internet es malo.
Ya. No sé. Tal vez debes conectarte directamente al router. Oh, qué lástima. Well, that's annoying as fuck.